Lawrence Kohlberg. He was born October 25, 1927 in Bronxville, New York, and died January 19, 1987 at the age of 59. He married Lucy Stigberg in 1955 and had 2 sons. The American psychologist is known for his theory of stages of moral development. He taught psychology as an assistant professor at Yale University, the University of Chicago, and at the Graduate School of Education at Harvard University. The topic of moral development was not a popular field of study. Kohlberg's research was inspired by the work of Jean Piaget and his accounts of children's moral development done 25 years prior. He argued that correct moral reasoning was the most significant factor in moral decision-making and that the correct moral reasoning would lead to ethical behavior. Kohlberg believed that individuals progress through stages of moral development just as they progress through stages of cognitive development. He developed 6 stages of moral development that address to the varying levels of ethical behavior in the society. His research is best summarized by stating that ethical behavior is born of moral reasoning, and moral reasoning can be identified by 6 traits. Each of these stages helps respond to a moral dilemma, with each growing stage being better able to offer a response. The 6 stages are broken down into 3 levels. Level 1 is pre-conventional, level 2 is conventional, and level 3 is post-conventional. Each level has 2 unique components reflecting the ladder to the consecutive stages. Level 1 centers on obedience, punishment, and self-interest. Level 2 deals with conformity and authority. Level 3 centers on social contracts and universal ethics. Stage 1, punishment orientation. The stage is pre-conventional, usually ages 9 and younger. They believe rules are absolute. Moral reasoning is controlled by external rewards and punishments. Their moral code is shaped by the standards of adults and the consequences of following or breaking the rules. The child is good in order to avoid being punished. A child in this stage believes that if someone is punished, they must have done something wrong. When told of the story about a man whose wife was dying of cancer and could only be saved by a medication that the man could not afford, and asked if the man should break in and steal the medication to save his wife, the children in stage 1 would say he should not steal the medication. They stated it is the wrong thing to do because he would be breaking the law. The children in this stage are only thinking of the punishment the man would have for breaking in and stealing, and the consequences he would receive. This stage is also pre-conventional. They learn individualism and exchange. They learn that there is not one right view handed down by the authoritative people. They comprehend that different individuals have different viewpoints, realize that everyone has their own wants, and they pursue them in different ways. Punishment is just a risk everyone is trying to avoid. During stage 2, the children think about the dilemma the man has with his wife and the drug differently. They see that having the drug is in the man's best interest. They also see that making money off of the drug is in the pharmacist's best interest. They also point out that it is unfair that the pharmacist made the drug too expensive for the man to buy. They do not think it would be as bad if the man stole the drug for his dying wife. This stage 3, good interpersonal relationships. The self enters society by conforming to social standards. Individuals are receptive to approval or disapproval from others as it reflects society's views. Reasoning may judge the morality of an action by evaluating its consequences in terms of a person's relationships, which now include things like respect, gratitude, and empathy. Conforming to the rules for one's social role is not yet fully understood. The intentions of people are more significant in reasoning. Stage 4. They are authority and social order obedience driven. It is important to obey laws, dictums, and social conventions because of their importance in maintaining a functioning society. Moral reasoning is beyond the need for individual approval exhibited in stage 3. There is the idea that if one person violates a law, maybe everyone would. Thus, there is an obligation and a duty to uphold laws and rules. Violating a law is morally wrong. Stage 5. This stage is referred to as social contract orientation. At this stage, morality is more internal and is not really affected by outside or external standards. This has to do with a person's worldview, how they personally view society and the world as a whole. At this point, people look more towards the greater good of society from a moral standpoint rather than a strictly legalistic view. The stage is more abstract in reasoning, looking past the rules and laws set in place and looking more towards the unwritten or less formal rules, an example being human rights, as they are not written but are unalienable and carry a lot of influence when it comes to morality of actions. Other aspects of stage 5 include mutual respect, social contracts. The statement, justice demands punishment, is seen as nonsense to someone who operates at this stage. Rights and welfare of people and right action tends to be defined by general individual rights and by terms that society has scrutinized and agreed on as a whole. For example, the Constitution. Stage 6. This stage is referred to as universal ethics. This stage is rooted in the idea of justice, or rather strict adherence to justice. This is where someone can justify breaking a law if it is seen or viewed to them in the grander scale of things to be unjust. For instance, looking at saving a life in a certain situation being interpreted as breaking the law. At this stage, people see more of the end result justifying the means. Individuals that operate at this stage care about their principles more than their own life. At this stage, having rights is more important than individual liberties. Other aspects of stage 6 include equal respect for all people. Democracy does not always result in things we intuitively view as just. Laws are valid only if they are grounded in justice. No laws that help people and hurt others. Nobody really hits this level permanently, and some people may reach this level. Examples of people who have operated at this level at some point include Martin Luther King Jr., Gandhi, and Jesus of Nazareth. How his work affected the world. Kohlberg is most well known among psychologists for his research in moral psychology, but among educators, he is known for his applied work of moral education in schools. The three major contributions Kohlberg made to moral education were the use of moral exemplars, dilemma discussions, and just community schools. Kohlberg's work broke new ground by concentrating on cognitive phenomena when most psychologists were behavioralists. Kohlberg died in 1987 from suicide by drowning after years of depression.